Good morning, family. This is Pastor Rob, and this is your CL Moment. I want to talk to you a little bit today about honoring Saul. I got a question. Have you ever dealt with a Saul before? If you've ever read about the encounters between King Saul and David in the book of 1 Samuel, you'll know exactly what I mean. King Saul was a man full of pride and selfish motive, and he was void of honor. Yet David, the man after God's heart, chose to honor even when it wasn't returned. If you haven't ever faced a Saul, the question isn't a matter of will you, but rather, how will you respond when faced with a Saul? Another way to put it is, how will you respond when faced with dishonor? I want to read this portion of text and pull 3 critical truths that I feel will help you in honoring your Saul, just as David did. We're going to read from 1 Samuel 18, verses 10 through 16. I'm reading from the New Living Translation. The very next day, a tormenting spirit from God overwhelmed Saul, and he began to rave in his house like a madman. David was playing the harp as he did each day, but Saul had a spear in his hand, and he suddenly hurled it at David, intending to pin him to the wall. But David escaped twice. Saul was then afraid of David, for the Lord was with David and had turned away from Saul. Finally, Saul sent him away and appointed him commander over 1,000 men, and David faithfully led his troops into battle. David continued to succeed in everything he did, for the Lord was with him. When Saul recognized this, he became even more afraid of him. But all Israel and Judah loved David because he was so successful at leading his troops into battle. The first point I want to make is honor is a choice. Here we see Saul's first attempt to kill David, and it's going to be followed by many attempts if you keep reading. But could it be that David chose to run from Saul's arrows out of honor? I mean, come on, we're talking about David, the man who killed a giant with a rock and a slingshot, who killed lions and bears with his bare hands. Could he have not taken care of Saul right then and there? I think so. But true honor will cause us to make choices that are contrary to our feelings or opinions. Hear this truth: agreement is not a requirement of honor. David chose to honor Saul. The second point I want to make is that God is with you. What a magnificent promise. In this chapter alone, it states 3 times the Lord was with David, and Saul became more afraid. Your enemies recognize the one who says that he will never leave or forsake you, and it causes them to fear. Most times it's not you that your Saul is jealous of, it's just the amount of presence you carry on your life. So learn to be okay with that. God is with you. And the third point I want to make is that God rewards those who choose honor. I'm not trying to make this whole thing easy peasy, but as difficult as it is to choose honor at times, it's so rewarding. Directly following Saul's attempt to kill David, we read that David is appointed commander of a great army and saw success in everything he did. And all of Israel and Judah loved David. Your Saul may not see your value, and I pray that someday they'll be enlightened. But your family, your friends, your co-workers, your schoolmates, your kids, they all see the treasure that you are, because God will reward you favorably. Again, honor isn't always easy, but be reminded the words of Jesus in Matthew 5:44 and 45. But I say, love your enemies, pray for those who persecute you. In that way, you will be acting as true children of your Father in heaven. Honor your Saul, choose to honor your Saul, and watch God continually work things together for your good. God bless.